Шановні колеги, ми
Dear colleagues, we continue our working day, and I give the floor to the Principal Deputy Chief Monitor, Mr. Alexander Hook.
Good afternoon, dear friends. Since I last spoke here, we had mostly positive news emerging from Donbas. For the first time since early May, relative calm prevails over most parts of Donetsk and Luhansk regions. On Monday, for example, we recorded just 5 explosions in the entire Donetsk region. Similarly, it has been mostly calm in the Luhansk region. No ceasefire violations were recorded on Saturday, and just 3 single shots of small arms fire on Sunday. Can I get the graph, please? This graph outlining the daily ceasefire violations by region provides a good visual overview. Here you can see how the 8 days prior to the start of the new school year looked like, where the SMM has been recording hundreds and even thousands of ceasefire violations on a daily basis. And since then, the daily count on both regions has dropped off to a trickle. It's not perfect. A return to the high level of violence we recorded at the end of August is possible. The only thing that stops it is an order to cease fire. None of the risk factors have been removed, though. Weapons are still present in violation of the withdrawal lines. Large areas remain mined and polluted with unexploded remnants of war. And the sites are positioned too close to one another. The sites are still operating unmanned aerial vehicles. One UAV was spotted over Yasinovata on 3rd of September, for example. The sites also continue to restrict SMM freedom of movement and place other impediment in its way. The SMM auxiliary camera equipment, for example, was stolen or destroyed at the so-called DPR-controlled Oktyabr mine on 3rd of September. We had long noted a direct correlation between the restrictions on the SMM, Minsk violation itself, and other Minsk violations, namely the presence and use of proscribed weapons. The most serious breakdown in the ceasefire came on Monday night around Stanica Luhanska bridge. For almost 4 hours, the sides fired mortars, automatic grenade launchers, small arms, and heavy machine guns. The episode underlines the fragility of the ceasefire. One bullet fired in anger can set off an inferno. One misjudged statement can lead to a breakdown. And we know all too well that it is civilians who pay the price when this happens. Individuals on the ground operating with effective impunity because they are never brought to justice can inflict so much needless pain on innocent people. Without follow-up and remedial action, these individuals can completely undermine the ceasefire. Dear friend, let there be no doubt. The ceasefire is still broken because there is still insufficient trust between the sides. Because additional measures required to build that trust remain to be taken. Don't misunderstand me. The past week or so has been nothing short of extraordinary. Parents in Donetsk city and Svetlodarsk are sending their children to school, the schools that are not being shelled. But this partial adherence to the ceasefire, as was made abundantly clear in Stanitsa Luhanska on Monday night, needs to be solidified. We have had a long cycle of violence, but we are far from a cycle of peace. As I said earlier, the difference between the large-scale violence the SMM registered in late August and the relative calm now is wafer thin, and the underlying risk factors remain. To stabilize the situation and make the ceasefire hold and sustainable, the sides must seize this moment. Momentum must be maintained. Dear friends, they squandered a similar opportunity last year, and countless lives were ruined as a result. I therefore urge the sides to take the next steps. Full confidence and trust, the basic preconditions for a lasting, sustainable ceasefire, will only come if the sides withdraw all proscribed weapons from the security zone and if they disengage their forces. Dear friends, we have an opportunity now to finally resolve the conflict. For the first time in a long time, I have increased hope that this is possible. I have hope because in the past week, I have seen men and women in positions of authority to take sane, rational, and above all, humane decisions. And mostly, stick by them. The next stage is not easy. To withdraw weapons and disengage requires trust. And while the last week has brought some level of trust, much mistrust remains. The sides need to understand, however, that they are not alone. All four the sides are responsible for fighting and equally for stopping. The OSCE Special Monitoring Mission will support them. To do so, the sides must, as they have committed to, provide the SMM with unfettered access. Access is essential in this context. If access is granted, the SMM can verify compliance, and verification can build trust. And dear friends, just be very clear, we are not going anywhere. We will be there to verify continued and I hope complete adherence to the Minsk agreements. We will verify and provide the objective information that is required to build confidence and trust. We will help the sides to bring peace back to Donbass. Now, at the end of my statement, as usual, I would like to inform you about the latest mission numbers. As of today, the mission has 701 monitors, of whom 588 are deployed in the east. In addition, there are 312 Ukrainian colleagues and 92 other international staff working for the OSCE Special Monitoring Mission. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hook. We have at least one question, please.
Ukrainian Crisis Media Center. Would you give us some details or explanation of unauthorized and provocative flights over Russian jets in Gray Zone and over the Donetsk and Luhansk area? Thank you.
Thank you. We are aware of these reports. We are at the moment looking at our own observation in this regard, and any finding will be published as soon the verification by the mission has been taken place. Thank you.
Чи ще питання або уточнення? We don't have further questions, so at this point the press conference is finished. Thank you for coming and looking forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you.
Шановні колеги, наступна подія о 14:30.